What's up everybody? Welcome back to Unparalleled Universe for another action figure review, and today we're taking a look at the brand new Nota Toys Logan. James, or whatever the hell you want to call this figure. If you're not familiar with the Nota Toys James, what it is basically a third-party Logan figure based on the way that he looked in the Logan movie. And I've seen a bunch of incredible pictures of him on Instagram, and that's really what sold me on this figure. It just looks so lifelike in some of those pictures, and I was kind of like, there's no way this thing could be that good in hand. Not from this like no-name Nota company that I've never really had a chance to experience any of their figures. The only time that I was almost gonna buy one of their figures is when they put out that Captain America last year. I thought that thing looked pretty cool, but I just never got around to buying it, and by the time I was ready to buy it, the price had shot up, so I didn't want that to happen with James. So I went ahead and bought it, and I bought it from a website overseas. I'll leave a link to that website in the description below. But you know, I wasn't really sure what to expect because I never dealt with that website either. But they sent it to me. When I got the figure, I opened it up. Like, you know, it's got this cool little flap that you could just kind of open up. I pulled the figure out, and within 20 seconds, his arm snapped off. And I was like so disappointed because I was so excited about the figure. And when I pulled him out, I was like, man, this is a nice looking figure. Tried to move the arms around. Boom, it just snapped. It was devastating. But then I went ahead and started crying about it on Instagram, and thankfully my homie Sergeant Bananas reached out and said that he actually had the same thing happen to him, but it was on the opposite arm. So he hooked me up with the Logan body that had the good left arm. I popped it onto the figure, and now this is like one of the greatest figures that I've ever seen, to be honest with you. This is like top 5 for the year, definitely. I was really impressed. But let's go ahead and get into it, starting off with the packaging. It does have this very small shoebox type of packaging, or like a mini shoebox. We do get some James artwork right here. On the side it says James, very big, does not say Logan or Wolverine or anything like that. It's James, James, James. And then on the back it says James. It says homemade toys, not for kids, please enjoy. And then we get a picture of the figure with his accessories. And then check this out, like we do see the clawed hands, but they're all blurred out. That's hilarious. Then we get some more artwork down here. My box was kind of crushed, as you could see, but we do get some artwork right here. And then on the side of the box it says there's no living with the killing, there's no going back from one. So there you go. And like I said, you can open this up like this. We have this like soft protective foam protecting the figure, and then there you go, there he is. And then you could remove this first layer, and that's where all the accessories are. So the packaging does kind of feel cheap, but it doesn't matter. It's no real indicator of how the figure itself feels. But yeah, the packaging kind of made me laugh with the James and the blurred out claws. That's kind of crazy. But enough about this box. Let's go ahead and talk about the figure. And so here we have James Howlett right out of the box, and this one is the Type B version, which is the bloody variant. There's also a Type A version that doesn't have any blood, and I have him on the way too, because as soon as I started messing with this figure, I knew that I had to get my hands on that other one before it became impossible. So I have him on the way. That's how impressed I was by this figure. As soon as I took him out of the box, I was completely baffled and just blown away by how amazing this figure looks, up until the point where his arm broke. When his arm broke, it definitely torpedoed the excitement. But, you know, it is what it is. I was able to get that situation, you know, figured out. The arm broke. It's something that happened. It worked out. So it is what it is. I'm not going to keep bringing it up because I just want to talk about how amazing this figure is. I feel like I've let you guys know that, so we're moving past it. But anyways, as soon as I took the figure out, I was just like, man, I cannot believe what I'm looking at. It is so lifelike. I've never seen a more lifelike figure in 1/12 scale. I've definitely seen bigger scale figures that have been able to capture a realistic look similar to this guy, but never in 1/12 scale. This is like the most realistic figure I've seen at this size. It looks like an actual person. I just cannot believe it. But just look at this thing, and we'll get in close and take a look at all the details. But like, if he didn't have ball joints at the wrist, like this, it would be a little like a tiny little person on your shelf. The ball joints on the wrist are the only things that kind of interrupt the illusion a little bit, but not by a lot. I'm just saying that's the one thing that you could point out and go, wait, that's not a person, it's a toy. But if it didn't have that, it's like, man, this thing is an actual little living being. Look at it. I kind of feel weird playing with it. But man, one other thing that kind of caught me by surprise with this figure, and it's something that I was not impressed by, is the head is really loose for some reason. And the head has this like separate little piece, like you pull this off and then it's just like a ball joint, but you put that on and then you put the head on, and it's just like really loose. And this thing isn't loose on the ball joint really, but the head is loose on top of this. So, you know, I do have the option to glue it, which is probably what I'll do, because this kind of makes the figure feel cheap or something, whereas the rest of the figure feels extremely high quality. Aside from the one joint that failed on me, all the joints do feel good. He can move around very good. He's got really good articulation. Even though he does have the soft goods, you're still able to get a lot of movement out of it. So that was very impressive. It's just so insane, like where we're at with action figures, you know? Like people are just doing some incredible stuff. And this is like a company I've never really like paid too much attention to. Like I heard about that Captain America figure, but I missed it and just kind of never thought about it again. And then they came out with this, and it's just like a freaking masterpiece. And you are able to take off the overshirt. Let's go ahead and do that so you can get a look at him without this, just the tank top. And when you remove the jacket, it definitely starts to look a little bit more like a toy, because then you could see some more of the joints and stuff like that. But, you know, it's not a big deal. It still looks amazing. And the fact that he removes his jacket definitely gives you some different type of options. And the hands are able to pop on and off without too much issue at all. He definitely doesn't look as impressive as when he has the jacket on. He still looks good, and you could definitely do some cool stuff with them. Oh, he's got like the pinless joints on the arms that look nice. Very import-like. You know, once you start posing him around, he definitely looks cool. So it would be nice if his arms were maybe a little bigger, so he looked a little bit more muscular. But I guess in the movie that this is based on, he is a little thinner. He's not like prime James. But yeah, it's always cool to have options for sure. But let's go ahead and get in close and take a look at the sculpted detail and the soft goods and just everything awesome that we have going on here. And starting off at the head, this is a really good looking head sculpt. They did a nice job on all the details. You can see all these scratches and wrinkles and all kinds of good stuff on his face. He kind of looks like that dude from Swordfish, but a little bit older, so that's kind of interesting. And then I love the X on the forehead here. It's a nice little subtle nod to what it's supposed to be, but I think that's cool. And then check out the scar on his cheek. The beard looks good. And I don't know if you could see here on camera, but the eyes have a very lifelike look to them as well. They kind of have a shimmer going on. So that is really cool. The hair doesn't have a whole lot of paint detail, but it still looks pretty good. But yeah, check out that face and beard and scratches. The X. All of it just looks so good. Then moving down into the body, you could see that he does have this overshirt on, or whatever you want to call it. And as you can see, it's all dirty. It looks like he's been through some shit. And it's dirty all the way around. So that looks really nice. And then we do have some blood stains on the front here. Those look really good. The tank top has some nice blood work. Check that out. And I went ahead and tucked his tank top into the jeans, and that makes it look a lot better, honestly. But it was kind of hard to get it in there because the jeans are really tight on him. And then we've got the belt right there. The jeans have some really nice stitching to them. They don't look messy or anything at all. I haven't found any loose threads on the jeans. I did find a couple of loose threads on the shirt, but nothing major, you know. Just little things here and there. But the jeans look really nice. And moving down to the shoes. These look really good. But yeah, the tailoring on the soft goods is very well done. The sculpting is nice. The skin tone is nice. So then check out his chest. He actually has some sculpted hair in there. So that looks good. And he does have an alternate head, as you can see here. We've got Angry James. So I like that a lot. And we do have some battle damage. As you can see, he does have a nice mark on his forehead. He's got some scratches on his cheeks. And with this head sculpt, you could see his teeth. And he just looks super angry. So really nice work on this. Both of the head sculpts are extremely well done, and just everything about the way this figure looks is pretty much perfect. In addition to the two heads, James does come with a bunch of other really cool accessories, including multiple sets of hands. So first off, we have a pair of fists, and then we have a set of open hands. He has another set of loose open hands, And then he also comes with a set of gripping hands that could be used to hold on to the shovel that he comes with. And aside from those regular hands, he also comes with 3 different types of clawed hands. So first off, we have your standard Wolverine type of claws where the 3 claws are coming out from the fist. And these look amazing. They're shiny, they look realistic. I think these are some of the best Wolverine claws I've ever seen on an action figure. So those are nice. And then the next set of hands has 1 single claw coming out from the center of his fist. And I think that's awesome. I don't think we've seen this type of clawed hands with the Wolverine figure ever before, and I know for a fact that we haven't seen this before. But check this out. For the third set of clawed hands, we have these here, and what we have is on the right and left, both claws are fully extended, but then the center one is about halfway up, maybe a little bit more than half. But this is awesome. You could do some really cool stuff with this. Have this like right under someone's chin or something. Make it look like he's about to stab him, or he's already stabbed him and the claw is inside the guy's head. So this is awesome. It's always fun to see these type of things that we've never seen before. And then we also have some blood effects. This first one here, I'm not even sure how to describe it. It's just like a big, huge, bloody mess. I guess you could put it like on someone's neck and you could kind of make it look like their head got cut off or something. I'm not too sure. This thing looks a little crazy to me, so I'm not really a huge fan of this. But these other blood effects are really cool. These things can actually go onto the end of the claws, so you can make it look like there's some blood splattering when he like slices somebody or something like that. So these are awesome, and the way they work is that there's 3 little holes in them and the claws just go right into those holes. So I like this effect a lot. And the shovel does look really good here. As you can see, the head has like a metallic paint job on it, and then we have some mud. The handle is sculpted to look like a wooden handle, and it all looks really nice. So check that out. Looks like a real shovel. And now for some size comparisons, we have James alongside the Marvel Legends X-Men movie Wolverine and the Marvel Legends X-Men Wolverine Origins Wolverine, I think. I'm never sure exactly because he kind of looks similar throughout all those movies. But yeah, as you can see, this James figure is in a completely different league. I love both of these figures. I think they're great. But when you have them next to something like this, it's just crazy the difference. And obviously they're different price points and stuff like that, but it's just amazing to me what could be done in 1/12 scale these days. And next up we have James alongside the Marvel Legends Logan and Marvel Legends Charles Xavier, both from the Logan movie. And Nota Toys is about to make a version of James that is dressed like this Logan, so I'm looking forward to that. But I would also like to see them do some of the other characters. Like, I think they would make a great Charles Xavier that looks like this, but more importantly, I think they would do a really nice Laura figure. But I'd be down for a Hasbro version of Laura to go along with these 2 Legends figures here. I think that would be cool, but man, to get a Laura figure or a Laura type figure to go along with this James, that would be absolutely epic. So hopefully Nota Toys does that. And next up we have James alongside the Marvel Legends Worthy Captain America and the Marvel Legends movie Deadpool. And then next up we have him alongside the SH Figure Arts Endgame Captain America Cat vs. Cat version. And then we also have the Marvel Legends World War II Captain America. And then now here we have James alongside the Mezco 112 Collective Old Man Logan and Mezco 112 Collective Logan. And next up we have James alongside the Mezco 112 Collective Netflix Daredevil and the Mezco 112 Collective movie Black Panther. And these 2 figures are probably Mezco's best attempts of taking a real life version of something and putting it into figure form. I think these are the best movie Mezco figures or comic book movie Mezco figures that we've ever seen. These are the 2 best in my opinion, but still they don't look quite as good as this James figure. This James figure does a better job of capturing the look from the movie. Like, this Daredevil looks great. I like it a lot, but it doesn't quite look like the movie. It looks like something different, you know, it looks like a toy version of it. But the Nota James figure looks exactly the way that he did in the Logan movie. So it's kind of a trip. Black Panther is it's a pretty good representation of the movie Black Panther. I actually like this figure a lot. I think this is a great figure. It's very slept on. I feel like it doesn't really get as much love as it deserves. I really like it. But again, it doesn't feel quite as realistic as the James figure. So it's just kind of crazy that this random ass company, Nota Toys, can execute something a little bit better than a company as big and popular as Mezco. I know Mezco is not the biggest company ever, but they're very, very popular. But when it comes to translating real life inspired figures, they're kind of hit or miss. These are 2 of the best ones, but they're not perfect. This Nota James figure is like a perfect representation of Logan from the movie. And then for the final size comparison, we have James alongside the Marvel Legends Pizza Spider-Man and Marvel Legends Bucky Cap. And just in case anyone was curious, I wanted to go ahead and show a couple of head swaps between these different Wolverine figures. I also have the alternate head here, but let's go ahead and pop this off. Oh, also, I went ahead and put a little bit of painter's tape around this so that it was a little thicker. So now, with the head on there, it's not all loose and flopping around. So it's an easy fix. But let's go ahead and remove that. And let's go ahead and take the Mezco Logan head and put it on there. It's a little too big. Even if you raise it up like that, it still doesn't quite look right. But let's go ahead and see what it looks like if we put these James head. Hey, that kind of, I don't know about that. That looks kind of funny right there. But let's see. Let's go ahead and give him his head back. It didn't quite work out. Some of the proportions on Mezco figures look kind of funny, and this is more comic book proportions, so that's why that looks like that. But let's go ahead and take the Hasbro Logan figure and put on one of the oh, that looks pretty good, but it doesn't sit quite right. Let's get some blue tack just to raise it up and see what we're dealing with here. So that looks kind of good. And then we could take this one and just set it on here. It doesn't pop on or anything, but the skin tones are slightly different. It doesn't really matter on the Legends one, it still kind of works, but on the Nota Toys one, where there's more skin exposed, it's a little bit more obvious. Let's see what else we could do here. Let's go ahead and take these guys. Again, it's not going to pop on or anything, but this looks kind of cool. Even without tack, it still kind of works. But let's go ahead and put some anyways, since I have it here. Yeah, but again, the skin tones are not going to match whatsoever. But if you feel like repainting it, got a nice looking Logan head. I think this looks kind of cool. And then let's go ahead and do one last one, this Wolverine here. See how this looks. That looks kind of nice. Oh, this looks dope right here actually. Oh yeah, that kind of works. And since he's mostly covered up, the different skin tones don't really stand out that much. Might have to raise it up just a little bit more. But yeah, there's some possibilities there. That looks kind of good. So cool. But, you know, this was just for fun. Obviously, I'm going to be keeping my Nota Wolverine the way it's supposed to be. Or Nota James. Sorry, Nota James. There we go. And the articulation on Logan is very impressive. He's definitely able to get into a lot of good poses, and he's a lot of fun to mess around with. There's nothing necessarily new or innovative here. It all feels very familiar, but it kind of feels like a mix of Marvel Legends articulation and Mafex articulation. But that's definitely a good thing, and I was really impressed by the range that we see on some of the joints. It's kind of crazy, but let's go ahead and get into it. First off, the head does move side to side. He's got a little bit of tilt to it, which is nice. There we go. He could look up to about right there. He could look down to right there. And the torso, that's where I was really impressed, because he does have a ball joint at the diaphragm, and then he has a ball joint at the waist. And using those, you could get him to go to the side to about right there, which isn't too bad at all. You could get him to go back to about right there, and then he does have a twist at the diaphragm and at the waist, so using both of those you could get him to twist. But where I was really impressed with this torso joint is how much it's able to go forward. So check this out. He could go forward to right there just at the diaphragm, and that already is impressive. But then if you also use the ball joint at the waist, he goes forward a crazy amount. Like, that's no hips right there. That's all waist and diaphragm. And that is awesome. That right there is just another reason to fall in love with this figure. When I started posing it around, I was like, damn, that's a good ab crunch. But yeah, very happy with that. And then for the arms, he does have butterfly jointed shoulders, as you could see there. They could go back to right there, and then you could bring them forward a really nice amount. And I like how you could get his arms in front of him. That's always dope for punching poses, you know. So really good stuff at the arms. And then he does have ball jointed shoulders that come out to the side. So that's nice. And then they do go all the way around. He has an upper bicep swivel, double jointed elbows, which get a good bend. Check that out. Bam! There we go. He could do his strongman pose. And then at the wrist, he does have ball joints that rotate around and they hinge. And then you could also swivel at the hand itself. So there you go. Good stuff. And then for the legs, they could kick forward to right there. I mean, obviously his pants are going to hinder his articulation quite a bit, but you could still get him to go forward a really good amount. You could bring them back to right there. And I was really impressed by how much they could come out to the side. Again, if he didn't have his pants on, you could probably get him to do the splits, but there you go. Then he does have an upper thigh swivel, double jointed knee, which gets a crazy bend. And then at the foot, what do we got here? Like a little ball joint, but works pretty good. So his ankles could move side to side. Pretty wide stance there. I don't want to go further than that and mess up the pants, but that's still pretty good. And then we have a swivel. And then his foot could go forward to right there. You could bring it up to right there. Damn, it goes way up. So there you go. Crazy articulation. Like I said, nothing where it's like, oh, I haven't seen this before. But at the same time, all these joints that do feel familiar get more range than we typically see, you know? Like that torso is crazy. Look at that. That is freaking sweet. Yeah, so I'm really happy with the articulation on him. And if you put the jacket on, his arms do get hindered a little bit. That's why I wanted to show the articulation without the jacket. But yeah, I'm very impressed with the articulation on James. Alright, so overall, at the end of the day, when the smoke clears, the dust settles, and it's all said and done, I think that this figure is a freaking game changer. I cannot believe how good this thing came out. I can't believe how lifelike it looks. I didn't even realize that something this lifelike can exist in 1/12 scale because I've never seen it done before, you know? And other companies that do similar things like this have not come close, you know, whether it's Soap Studios or Mezco or whoever, they haven't really been able to nail an accurate real lifelike translation from you know, movie to figure. Nowhere near as good as this. There are some exceptions. Like I like some of the Soap Studios Harry Potter prequel stuff. I like some Mezco MCU stuff, but none of them are as lifelike as this figure here. So they really did an incredible job. And you know, as far as the broken arms goes, I'm gonna give them the benefit of the doubt. You know, maybe I just got a bad figure. We'll see when I get the Type A in. If I pull him out of the box and his arm snaps off, then you know, I'm gonna come back on here and be like, fuck Nota Toys. But as it is right now, I'm gonna give them the benefit of the doubt and say that I just had a bad one. Thankfully, I was able to fix it, and I was able to get it fixed with some new body parts. And also the store that I bought it from was going to send me a replacement anyway. So that's good stuff. But, you know, I think this is a great figure. But I want people to be aware of what they're getting into if they get this figure. So be very careful when you're handling it, and don't jump right in like I did. But man, this thing is amazing. Just everything about it is perfect. It looks beautiful. It's a damn piece of art. He has a lot of great articulation. He's fun to play with. He has some options. You could take the jacket off. Even though when you take the jacket off, he does look a little smaller. He doesn't look like a huge jacked man like a character like this would look like, you know. He kind of looks a little smaller than I would like, but It is an older version of him, so it's kind of passable, but I definitely think that this is the ideal look for him, and it looks the best like this with this overshirt on, so it looks great. He comes with a bunch of really awesome and interesting accessories. I love the different types of claws that he comes with. I like seeing new types of things for old characters. Like, we've had a bunch of different Wolverine figures, and I don't think we've ever got the claws that we got with this figure, so how cool is that? And then he does have the shovel, the two heads, the blood effects, all of that stuff is a bunch of fun, and it just adds to this figure, it adds to the character, and they just did a great job. So I'm so happy with this figure. I can't wait to get some more figures from this company. Yes, it was very unfortunate that his arm broke out of the box. I'm hoping that I just got a bad one. I guess I'm gonna put that to the test when I get the Type A version, and I'm definitely gonna try to hunt down that Captain America figure. I'm gonna be getting the chauffeur version of James, and also I think they have like a Ben Affleck Batman coming out where it's just Bruce Wayne kind of like in a suit or something, so I'm looking forward to those. But man, what an impressive figure. They just did a great job with this, and I'm just super happy with it. It's nice to have a really good Logan figure. You know, Hasbro has given us a couple of great ones, but you know, this is on another level. And I think that's it. Thank you so much for watching. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and all that good stuff. Also, be sure to hit the bell notification so you know every time that I go live. If you're not aware, I do go live every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Pacific time and every Friday at 7 p.m. Pacific time. So come through, hang out, let's talk about toys, and let's get weird. Peace.